Welcome back once again, ladies and gents. And today we are proceeding with our question that we started previously. Or this video is the continuation of our previous video on text file handling. Okay, so we were looking at question number 3, and this is the text file question that we were busy with. And this was the program, and this is the code that we explained in our previous video. So I'm just going to continue from where we left in our previous video. So now, after that, we have copied our first item into our sitem variable. We then deleted that word because we no longer need it, which means in our S line or in our S1 line now, what is left is only the units, or the current stock rather, the unit of measure, the minimum quantity, and so forth. Sitem, we no longer have it. The item, we have deleted it. So now we have to copy the next item, which is the current stock. Okay, so let us just do that. Okay, so now for me to be able to copy that, I will also need a variable for that. So now if I look at my text file here, I can see that I've got current stock with 7.6. That tells me that it's a real variable. So I'm going to need a real variable. I'm going to call it rCurrent, and it's a real. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is like a repetition of what I've done previously. So obviously I will need to find the position of the delimiter once again so that I can copy. Then after copying, I will then delete. So I'm just going to copy this code and just paste it over here. Then I'm going to change here. Now this is going to be rCurrent. Now I need to copy rCurrent. I need to copy it from S1 line, starting from position 1 up to the position of I hash minus 1. But now you have to take note that my rCurrent here is a real variable, and my copy function will send back a string data type. So I will have to convert it from a string to a float. Okay, then that is it, ladies and gents. Then I delete also that current stock that I have copied already, because I no longer need it. Now what's left in my text file now is the unit of measure. So I need to extract my unit of measure here, and I'm going to need a variable again to do that. So let me just declare another variable where I'm going to store the unit, and I think I'm gonna make it a string. So let me just declare it here. So I'm going to call it sunit. I'm going to call it sunit, and I'm going to paste my code as usual, since I'm going to do the same thing again, find the position of the delimiter and extract what I need to extract using my copy function. Then I delete what I've copied already. So here what I want to copy here, it's sunit. It's sunit here. Yeah, basically that's it. It's sunit here. Then I delete my sunit because I no longer need it. I've stored it already in my string variable. Now it means that in my text file I'm left with the minimum quantity as well as the maximum quantity. Those are the two things that I'm left with in my text file. So I'm going to copy those two, my minimum stock as well as my maximum stock. So So let me just declare those two variables simultaneously. I will need R minimum, just going to call it R min. Then I also need R max for the maximum stock that I have there. Okay, so I'm going to paste, or rather let me copy this code that is converted already. Now I'm just going to change here to make it R min, and this is for my minimum stock. Okay, so my R min, I'm copying that and I'm deleting it because I've stored it already there. Now if you look now in my text file, what I'll be left with only after copying the minimum quantity, it will be the maximum quantity. That means that in my string variable, my S1 line here, what is only left is the maximum quantity. So now I can just display S1 line because that is what I'm left with. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say R max is equals to the it's going to be S1 line, but now S1 line, remember it's a string and we want to store it in a real variable, so I'll have to convert it from a string to a float. Okay, like this. Okay, so that is it, ladies and gents, pertaining to the extraction of all the details that we need for us to be able to answer this question. Now let us go back to our question and look again what you've been asked us to do. Okay, so they are saying based on the current stock levels, a shopping list must be generated. An item must only be purchased if the current supply is less than the minimum amount required. All the amounts must be rounded to the nearest whole number, as one can't buy a portion of an item. Okay, so let us look at that statement only. I need to answer that part only. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to check if the current stock that we have is less than the minimum stock that we have. And if that is the case, then I'm going to calculate how much do we need to order. Okay, so now I'm going to use my if statement there. I'm going to say, okay, if my R current is less than the minimum required, then I'm going to find or calculate rather the amount that we need to order. So I will need a variable for that. So let me call this R need. Now this is the number of units that we need to order. So now if the R current stock is less than our minimum stock, then our R need is going to be the R max, the maximum that we have, minus the current stock that we have. So that is what I will have to order there. So this is where it needs you to be kind of logical, ladies and gents, to apply critical thinking on how to solve a particular problem that you have been given. Okay, so I've calculated what I need to order there, which means I've answered this part. An item must be purchased if the current supply is less than the minimum amount required. So now they also said all the amounts must be rounded off to the nearest whole number, as one can't buy a portion of an item. So in other words, they are saying if there is a fraction or there's a decimal in this R need, it must be rounded off to the nearest whole number, since you cannot buy a portion of an item. So I'm going to use an if statement again for me to do just that. So I'm going to say if frac. Now the frac function it just tells me whether there's a decimal or not. So I'm saying if frac r need, if frac r need is greater than 0, that means that there is a decimal there. Tells me that there is a decimal. Then I want to round it up, and we use a ceil function to do that. So I'm going to say then take r need and ceil it, ceil r need. So what this function does, whenever it sees a decimal, for instance it's 3,2 there, it's going to round it off to the, or round it up rather. It kinds of round up a number to the next whole number. So if it is 3,2 that I have in my r need there, it will be rounded up to 4. So that is exactly what they want us to do here. Okay. They also then further says if the unit is kg or bottles, then the unit must be displayed, or else no unit must be displayed. The shopping list must be displayed including the heading. Okay, so now let us look at that line of code. They are saying, okay, if the unit here is either kilograms or kgs, or it is bottles, it must be displayed together with the shopping list. As you see here, we have 6 bottles here, we have 9 kg cheese. So they are saying those things must be displayed, or those units must be displayed. But if it's not those units, then you can just display without those units. Okay, so I'm going to use an if statement again on that one. I'm going to say, okay, if the S unit, remember I stored my unit in S unit, if the S unit is equals to kg, if the unit is equals to kg, or my S unit is equals to bottles, or my S unit is equals to bottles, then I need to display that. But remember, whenever you use an OR operator, you always have to put your conditions in brackets. So I'm going to put my conditions in brackets like this. Okay, I put it in the wrong place there. Put it in the wrong place. It should be is equals to bottles. That should be in quotes, and it must be inside the bracket. Okay, then what do I want to do now? If that is the case, then what I want to do here, I want to display red lines, or red output dot lines dot add. Now what do I want to add here? I need to add the amount of units that I need to order, and I've calculated that and I've stored it in r need. So I'm going to say, oh, display r need plus. Now if we check in our text file, in our list here, you can see that it's the number that needs to be ordered, as well as the description of the, or the name of the item, or the unit if it is kilograms or bottles, and the description of the item after that. Okay, so now here I'm saying if the unit is kilograms and or it is bottles, then I need to display what I need to order plus the unit as well, plus my S unit, then plus my S item. Those are the things that I need to display. but I think I will need some spaces here so that my shopping list can be displayed neatly there. Then plus also a space there so that my shopping list looks exactly as that one in our question paper. Okay, so this is what I want to do if the unit is kgs or it is bottles. So I will display the number of stock needs to be ordered, the unit, and the item. But now I see that my R need is a real variable here, so I will need to convert it from a float to a string. Need to convert that from a float to a string so that it can be able to be displayed in that string component. Okay, then they also said to me, if you go back to your question paper, they also told me that this list must also be stored to a text file called shopping list, display a message indicating that the file was written. So we are doing two things here, ladies and gents, in the same video. We are reading from a text file, and at the same time we are going to write some information into a text file as well. Okay, that is why at the beginning of my video I declared two text file variables here, my file and my file 2, and they are all type of a text file. So now remember, whenever you want to write to a text file, you can use a rewrite procedure that creates a text file for you, or you can use the append that just writes some information to an existing text file. But now if you look into our program, we do not have a text file called a shopping list there. We need to create it and write it onto it. So what I'm going to do is that on my top here, I'm just going to assign this text file. I'm just going to assign this text file. So I'm going to say assign file, and I want to assign it to my text file variable, my file 2, and the name of the text file, I'm going to make it shopping. I'm going to make it shopping list.txt. Shopping list.txt. That is going to be the name of my text file. Then I'm going to rewrite it. Rewrite my file 2. So the rewrite procedure is actually creating a new text file in our program that we are going to write all the information that we have calculated here. So now after I have displayed this, I also want to write to a text file, and remember, to write in a text file we use the write line procedure. Remember, reading from a text file we use the read line, but when you are writing to a text file you are going to use the write line procedure. Okay, so I want to write where I want to write to my file 2. And what do I want to write there? I want to put the stock that we need to order. Basically the same thing as what we did there, plus the S unit, plus the item as well. Okay, keep on forgetting to space my work properly here. So it's always a good practice to make sure you space your work properly so that your code is easy to read and to understand. Okay, another space there. Okay, but now this is a real variable, so I need to convert it. I need to convert that from a float to a string. Okay. Okay, then I close my bracket there. Okay, so this is how we write to a text file, ladies and gents. Why am I getting an error there? My file 2. Okay, there should be a plus sign there. Okay, so now this is how we write to a text file, ladies and gentlemen. You use the write line procedure, specify the text file which you want to write to. Then you specify the details that you want to put. You can write a line, you can write anything that you want to put there, but in this case we are already having the information that we want to put there, and we have stored it in variables, so we are just going to put that. Okay, so now that is when my unit is kilograms or it is bottles. But if it is not that, this is where my else statement comes now. Now if that is not that, I just want to display read output dot lines dot add. I just want to display float to string. I just want to display the rnead. Just want to display the rnead plus, let me have a space there, plus my S item only. There's no units that I'm going to display there if it is not bottles or kilograms. Okay, and that should be the end of my question. Let me just go back to the question and check if there is also something that they want us to do there. Okay, let me just close this, the beginning and end. Okay, now they also told me, they also said display a message indicating that the file was written. Display also indicating that the file was written. Okay, so we are just going to display that. Just going to write a message that displays that. So I'm going to display that on the rich edit as well, so I can just paste this and display that. So now if I look at my shopping list here, I can see that the message shopping list sales to file is displayed, but there's an enter that was that was used there. So we know that to do that we use a hash 13. So it's a hash 13 that takes me to another line there. So I'm just going to use that hash 13. Then I'm going to add that message that they displayed there, which says shopping list saved to file. Okay, that is the message that they displayed there, so I'm just going to display that. Okay, now lastly, or the last step whenever you are working with the text file, you must always remember to close your text file. So we use the close file function there, and we want to close the first file, my file, and we also want to do the same, close file, my file 2. Okay, so you must always remember to do this, ladies and gents, or else you can lose marks for that. So always remember or know that once you are done with your text file, you must always remember to close it. Okay, ladies and gents, this is how our cookie crumbles. Let me just run it and see if we do not have errors and if we are going to get a shopping list that looks like this. Okay, gate shopping list. Oh, it's telling me that the file does not exist. Okay, let's just error check that. Let us just error check that. Let's just error check that. Okay, I assigned my file here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, ladies and gents, for the sake of time and to keep this video short, I'm just going to pause it right here. Then we are going to error check it in the next next video and see how we can generate something like that.